Let us start the journey by understanding the concept of big data, which is far beyond just data. We are going to perceive the intended meaning of data and information. We will look at how the data generated is being managed and the RGMS limits, how the concept of big data evolved, and the birth of Hadoop ecosystem. Therefore, the objectives of this tutorial are data versus information, data management, relational database management, big data and its characteristics, and finally the evolution of Hadoop. Let us look at a simple example to understand how information is evolved from data. Here, data is just numbers. If it is just numbers, we do not understand anything about it. If this data came with a context, as in this case, we are able to gain knowledge as to where it is, a date or salary or the zip code of any place. The data is stored in the database so that access is easily available for the information requested. Data management is that development and execution of those architectures, policies, practices and procedures to manage the information life cycle needs of any enterprise. To manage this data stored in a database, we need a DBMS, Database Management System. Here comes the relational DBMS, where data is stored in the form of related tables in the database. Therefore, the database itself is called relational, which includes SQL Server, Oracle or MySQL. But in this emerging world of data, where data is moving into terabytes or even petabytes, companies and organizations are looking forward to embark on projects which can handle large amounts of data. That is, they are running into the limits of using relational databases. What are those limits? The first and foremost one is scalability, as mentioned about the increase in size of data. They do not have enough storage area to handle such huge data generated like videos and images. They require the information to be stored only in the form of tables where the relationships are defined by values between entities. And finally, its inadequacy to operate with languages outside of SQL. So, by now we already touched the concept of big data. Let us ingress into it. Here come the big term big data. The main objective of this tutorial. It is similar to small data, but the difference is in the size. Since it is bigger, the approaches to deal with big data also differs. Big data generates value from the storage and processing of very large quantities of digital information that cannot be analyzed with traditional computing techniques. Also, it is closely associated with unstructured data but can include both structured and unstructured data. When I say it is structured, it means the data can reside in a row-column database as in a relational DB. Unstructured is just the opposite to it, which often includes text and multimedia content. In addition, International Data Corporation estimates 90% of big data to be unstructured. Therefore, the main advantage is that, whatever tools that are designed to analyze big data can handle unstructured data. Now, let us discuss the characteristics of big data. There are 4 ways to be considered for big data, which are also called the characteristics or dimensions of big data. Big data depends on how large it is. That is the scale of data called volume, which is the first W. A common theme being the source of data to be diverse. That is different forms of data called variety, which is the second W. The ever-increasing rate at which data is flowing into an organization is called velocity, and finally the fourth W is called veracity, which refers to the noises in data. It helps to add value to the data being analyzed by checking and keeping the dirty data out of the system. Now, how can we handle such data? Storing this big data is a part of the game, but we also have to process it in order to mine intelligence out of it. Traditional databases do not offer the processing power essential for it. If we recollect the concept of data and information which we discussed earlier, data, which is the input, is converted to information, which is the output, by processing. A traditional data processing model has got data stored in a storage cluster which is copied to a compute cluster, and the output is written to storage cluster back again. As we already discussed that, the approaches differ with the big data. The Hadoop ecosystem comes up with a solution to the storage and processing of the big data. Here comes our last objective, which is the birth of Hadoop ecosystem. It is designed to solve a set of data problems different from the relational databases. These Hadoop clusters provide the storage and computing necessary for the big data. Let us continue in the introduction to Hadoop covered in the next tutorial. The goal is to turn data into information, and information into insight. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial on the concept of big data. Let us learn about Hadoop in the next tutorial.